Good.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just checking no one else wants to come in because I'm worried that while I'm talking, others will. All right, there's no one else there anyway. Right. Can you?
Are you able to make me co-host? That would help a bit.
How do I do that, please?
Find me in participants.
Yeah.
And see if one of the options is to make me co-host.
Yeah. Right.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and there's a couple of people actually want.
Okay, I'll admit them then.
I've just done it. It's all right.
Okay.
I think. Chris. Okay.
Good. Lovely.
Right. Okay, back to introducing ACAN. Can you see slides on your screens, everybody?
No.
Oh, that's worrying. Why not?
Have you hit the share screen at the bottom in
I
green?
must have not done it tough enough. I did test it all earlier too. Right, try again. Any better?
That's better. Thank you.
Good. Right. Okay. So I'm Jenny, as Eleanor said. I'm the Chair of Trustees and one of the co-founders of ACAN back in 2019. And very briefly, I'm just going to introduce ACAN to you, the groups that have formed themselves, staffed by wonderful volunteers, are the heart of ACAN, but we do other things. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of context. The word together is terribly, terribly important. We are a community organisation and it's about tackling the climate crisis together. We are a CIO, we incorporated in 2020. So we're about positive community action, building community resilience. It's probably the only practical action that, apart from individual personal action, that people can take, I think, is to work together locally to build resilience for the future and do as much as we possibly can. So this is a photo of our wonderful inaugural public meeting, and there will be people here in the event tonight who are present, and recognise some of them in the audience there, an almost midsummer evening. And nearly all the groups actually came out of discussions that took place on this evening on the 14th of June. But ACAN has very deep roots in the town, going back 12 years or so to the Greening campaign, and especially to the work over the last 10 or 12 years of Energy Alton and the Alton Local Food Initiative, ALFI. And I don't think ACAN would exist. In fact, I know ACAN wouldn't exist were it not for the work in the town of those two organisations who are with us tonight. We're very much about just joining in, and we organise a range of activities, including talks on a number of environmental topics. The next one is on the 14th of March, and it will be on better ways to travel on sustainable transport. We've been trying to improve, I'm just letting somebody into the event, our presence on social media in recent times. We've still got a lot more to do, but we are making progress with that. We also have stalls as another very important way of reaching people at many events through the year, through the spring, summer and autumn. We're very fortunate in having a fantastic town council that organises lots of community events. And last year, as many of you will know because you were there, we held an eco fair in the public gardens. The photo on the right is the wonderful SOS from the kids who made such an impression on the audience at that event. We also offer information in all sorts of different ways. We want as many people in Alton and villages as possible to put up this climate aware household flyer in their windows to demonstrate solidarity that they are part of the climate aware household movement. And this year, we're going to be starting a pilot outreach project to spread the word at street level, a much more local way, household level way of working. We've just had a grant come through from Hampshire County Council to help us with this. So we'll be appointing a project manager part-time to lead this project, which is really exciting. And I'm just going to mention briefly a very different sort of project, but one which gives us a lot of hope for the future. We've linked up with the Gumby Education Fund, a long-established charity, and the Permaculture Paradise Institute out in Malawi, and have developed over the past couple of years in partnership what's become known as the Gumby Alton Permaculture Paradise Project. And we've been able to fundraise to support the training of quite a large number of students, boys and girls, young people from the Gumby villages, badly hit by the climate crisis, which is causing their main crop, maize, to fail repeatedly. And permaculture, as you know, gives us a huge array of crops of different types throughout the year. And they've just got their own plot of land there, and you can see started work on it in November, and you can see it in January in the lower photo there. So that's just a quick overview of the other work of Alton Climate Action Network and where we've come from. But we are more than anything else a network of groups who offer services and opportunities to the local community. Each of these groups is now going to share their work with you. And before they do, I just want to say, and I hope we have the opportunity to say this several times this evening, a huge thank you, massive thank you to all the volunteers who run these groups, who make them possible. So,
Thank you very much, Jenny. We're now going to start running through all the different groups and what they do. And I have told them to try and stick to 3 minutes, and I will start ringing a bell if it goes beyond 5, just so you know. We'll start with John Hubbard talking about Energy Alton, please. You're on mute.
Thank you, Eleanor. My name is John Hubbard. I'm the chair of Energy Alton. Our presentation is going to be in 2 parts. I'm going to cover powering down, i.e. saving energy, and Chris Lang, who I hope is here somewhere, will be telling you about powering up, all about generating renewable energy. We've been a volunteer group in Alton, advising homeowners on how to save energy for more than 10 years. And rather than talking about the past, if you're interested in knowing more, then the best thing to do is to go to our website and look at the story that it tells you about the different things we've done over those years. Hang on, let's do that. Today, as in the past, we give advice and information on how to make your homes more energy efficient, cozier, and to save money. And we do this in a number of ways. We give free home energy surveys, free thermal images. We've got a telephone helpline, information and guidance, which appears on our website, plus other productions, including our Clean Heat Guide, which I can wave in front of you, which we produced last year, all about heat pumps and related heating systems. We have news items in our quarterly newsletter. We have speakers at events, now organised by ACAN. And we work closely with our partners, Alton Town Council, East Hampshire District Council, on their climate emergency strategies and plans. And we also respond to their plans, such as the draft supplementary planning guidance, which we've just done a response to their consultation on. So that's a quick range of the things that we do. I'm very pleased, actually, like Jenny is actually, that we've got, starting last year, the Powering Up team that Chris is going to talk about shortly. We've also got 3 new home energy surveyors to join the 3 old stalwarts, Chris, Tony, and myself. This means that we can take on more and invite more, get more requests or respond to more requests for surveys from anyone in the Alton area. either in the response to questions raised by the Clean Heat Guide, or perhaps because they're frightened by the hike in energy bills, or a general wish to be more energy efficient, but don't know where to start. Really, we do common sense advice with a fair amount of knowledge from the past, from past experience. But we aim to be clear, not talk in jargon. We certainly don't represent any commercial organizations, and we aim to help people prioritize what they want to do. So if you want a survey, just go to our website and make a request, or sign up for our newsletter. Pick up a copy of the Clean Heat Guide, which is available in the community centre, the town hall, and the station. Or if you want to get involved in EA, we'd love to hear from you and talk about things that you might be interested in doing with us. Okay, Elena, that's it.
Lovely. Thank you very much, John. And Chris, are you here? Chris Lang?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Lovely. Thank you.
Excellent. Hi, so I'm Chris Lang. I'm heading up the Powering Up initiative with Energy Alter at the moment. So briefly, the idea of the Powering Up initiative is to implement and manage schemes to supply locally generated renewable energy to anyone who wants it, really, public, domestic and commercial buildings within Alton, the local villages. And that doesn't just mean electricity, that can also mean heat energy. So we're looking at heat pump based schemes as well. How do we do that? We identify high energy users and community organisations within Alton that would benefit from this and work with them and ACAN and others to identify funding and hopefully eventually implement and manage these schemes through a new body that we're hopefully going to set up called a Community Benefit Society. The idea of that is that local people, predominantly local people, will be able to invest money in this scheme, and that will provide the money to build solar schemes, clean heat schemes, and so on. And then those people will get a small return as part of the money that comes out of selling that energy to domestic and commercial users. And hopefully that scheme will also generate extra profits over time that we can plough back into new schemes or plough into the community in some other way. That's the model we're trying to build. What have we done so far? So in the summer just gone, we put in an application for 4 initial projects to the Rural Community Energies Fund. They fund feasibility studies for these types of projects, so that we could identify a project that we could get off the ground and pursue. That application was unfortunately rejected around November time, but I am about to submit next week a new application for one of those schemes to take forward. That is to install some clean heat at Seven Grange, just outside Alton. So looking at supplying 7 residences with a some kind of community heat and solar PV scheme, and possibly a sort of small community heat network. Other things we've been doing, we've also been talking to the people behind the Cops Close Solar Farm, which is a proposed development on the Selborne Road outside Alton, planned to be a massive solar farm. We were initially interested to see if we could get involved directly in that, but I think we've scaled back our ambition slightly. But we have had some really good conversations with the Brox family, who are building that scheme or trying to build that scheme, about possibly setting up a community fund from the profits, some of the profits of that scheme. So we'll see where that takes us. That should go to planning soon. So if you haven't heard about it, you will soon. We always need more volunteers. I'm sure every group here will say that. But in order to get the Community Benefit Society and these projects off the ground, we could definitely do with some more volunteers. Particularly, we need a new secretary. And if you have any Any financial or project management expertise, we're hopefully going to get some help with that from Community Energy South, but the more we have internally, the better. If you want to find out more, have a look at the Energy Autumn website. Contact us via the Energy Autumn email address. And please do also fill in our online survey, which you can find on the Energy Autumn website. That helps us to gauge how much support there is in the community for the schemes that we want to build.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Chris. Moving on now to Angela, who's going to be talking to us about Alton Repair Cafe.
Hello, thank you very much. Yes, Angela Cross. I'm one of the founder members of the Alton Repair Cafe. We, like Jenny introduced at the beginning, we were an embryo group that sprung up from a talk that was given by ACAN, given to ACAN by a chap called John, whose surname I can't remember, from the Farnham Repair Cafe. And while we were there, Penny Hames very inspirationally said, let's not just listen, let's set our own group up. So that's what we did. So we set up Alton Repair Cafe back in, trying to find the link. It's always the way, you can never find a thing when you need them. Back in 2019, and I'll continue without my notes. You can never find them when you need them. Can I see if I can get to them? Yes, I think so. Here we go. We set up initially as a tiny group. We got volunteers together to say, what could we do to help people repair things in Alton? We sent out flyers, we found a venue, and we got together with various people. We were inundated with people wanting stuff repaired, and we have grown from strength to strength, still having quite a few people who send us messages saying, can you repair this, that and the other? Some people want large items repaired. We can't repair things unless they're small enough to fit in a suitcase. You can see here, there's a young chap. Can you see my screen, everybody?
No, we can't. Can you share it?
Yes, let me just do that.
Button.
Yeah. Taking up all of my minutes here, trying to. No, I think I'm going to have to continue without it because I can't get it to load on your screen. So we have managed to save people from putting stuff into landfill. People bring radios, toasters, coffee machines, vacuum cleaners, armchairs, ornaments, clothing. In fact, anything that you think, oh, I don't want to throw this away, bring it down to the Alton Repair Cafe. We have a team of volunteers, some who do electrical repairs, some do computers. We have a furniture restorer and various people doing all sorts of things. We try to meet once a month, but at the moment we're struggling to do more than once every 2 months, just from a venue point of view. So our next meeting will be the 26th of February at the Alton Community Centre, where we will have our team of volunteers ready to repair your goods. So if you know of somebody who says, oh, I'm just going to throw this away, say to them, please don't throw it away, bring it down to the repair cafe. If we can't repair it, you have at least not lost anything by bringing it to us. We may have somebody who we can send it away to that might be able to repair it. So it's always worth giving it a try before you throw it in the bin. We have saved a huge amount of stuff from landfill. What we tend to do is we weigh it as you come in so that we know how much stuff we're keeping out of landfill. And also just prolonging the life of goods that should not really be thrown away, that they should be mendable. So that is the basic ethos behind the Alton Repair Cafe.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Angela.
Okay.
Next, we're moving on to Lily Ewins, who's going to talk to us about Young ACAN.
Okay, let me just set up screen sharing quickly.
That's great.
There we go. Okay, so hi, I'm Lily Ewins, and Young ACAN is the youth branch of ACAN and ACAN's newest member. So we launched in October of last year through our Instagram, which is @YoungACAN. And we are essentially a youth movement for people aged 10 to 24, and we aim to empower young people to take action on the climate crisis locally, especially since a lot of young people like myself can't vote yet, and we also can't hold positions like councillor, so I found that we didn't really get much of a say locally. So what have we done since then? In November of last year, we were awarded a grant from the Community Lotteries Together for Our Planet programme for our one-year project, which is Young Alton Climate Action, It's Our Future. There are 4 funded elements to this project, the first one being a survey of around 250 local young people aged 10 to 24, which is going to be led by Fiona. So we want this survey to answer a few questions we have for young people, like what the biggest climate concerns are, what they want to see happen locally, and what kind of events they would get involved with. Then the arguably most important part is our young ACAN ambassadors. We've got 2 from Amory Hill and 2 from Alton School at the moment, and we're hoping to get some from Eggers and maybe Alton College as well. And they act as a point of contact for us into the schools so that they can spread information to their peers and give us feedback on events and points of action. And then one of our events is going to be Back on the Rack, which is a pop-up thrift shop at the Alton Maltings on the 2nd of April this year. So we're hoping that people will bring in clothes, maybe to one of the local schools or in on the day. And then you essentially take things off the rack, and it prevents fast fashion kind of impacting our carbon footprint in that way. And then our other event is the Eco Schools Conference, which is again at the Maltings, and that's on the 4th of July. So that's for pupils in year 6 to year 10, and it's kind of like a rotation of 6 workshops where each pupil does 2. So they do 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon, and then potentially feedback to their parents in the afternoon of that day. So what can you do to get involved with Young ACAN? So the first point is to come along to our events, and you can also follow us on Instagram. Our posts are quite dedicated to information that's useful for young people about the climate crisis, just to serve as a point of information. And then if you or anybody you know would like to become a Young ACAN ambassador, you can contact us using the general ACAN email, which you can see here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lily. It's great. And now it's Jenny again for Avlan. You're on mute, Jenny.
Just want to share this. I'm not getting this right at the moment. Where is it?
We all need a Lily to help us with the share
We
screen.
do. I'm hoping absolutely hopeless. We are making progress here.
There
Right.
we go. Lovely.
Got there in the end. Just trying to get that on the full screen. There we are. So yes, I'm deputising for Gareth Hurd, who's the chair of Avlan, our nature group, Alton and Villages Local Action for Nature, and indeed the vice chair. Both of them have family commitments. Gareth has a very young baby, indeed, Gareth and Helena. So our nature group actually is one of the groups that came straight out of the discussions back in June 2019, and has done a lot of good work since then. And we have 3 priorities in Avlan. One is rewilding community spaces. The second is gardening for wildlife, and the third is protecting our precious riverway in the town. And I'll just briefly outline each of those. The photo collage on this slide was prepared for us by Ginny Boxall, and I'll just pause on it for a second because it reminds us how important Alton is for wildlife. we have important populations of swifts, of slow worms, and many other species. So there is a lot of nature in Alton to protect. That's particularly important given the growth in housing. So the rewilding community spaces, our flagship project, if you like, is the Butts Community Garden, which I hope you've all seen. And this was developed under license, which was a new model for working, which was developed by ACAN in East Hampshire. And this won Bumblebee Conservation Trust Award last year. Chronologically, however, it was preceded by the Gilbert White Garden to commemorate Gilbert White's 300th birthday in 2020 at All Saints Church. And then towards the end of last year, Rate Makers developed their garden in Hollybourne, which will blossom forth this year, I hope. And we've also provided advice and continue to lobby over the vexed question of verge mowing, East Hants and Hants County Council. This year, I'm very excited about our Orchard House project, which is a wonderful partnership project with Abry Housing Association. And I think Susie, Community Development Officer from Abry, is on the call this evening. And also working in partnership with Alton College, some of whose students will be helping us with planting and weeding. So that's a really exciting project, which will transform the green verges around Orchard House. And then we hope as the year progresses that other green spaces will work on the license model. And we are about to apply to Hampshire County Council to take over the management of 3 roadside verges, accompanied by more lobbying over taking the more important ecological verges out of the mowing regime. Gardening for wildlife, I think it's fair to say we've done less on, and I hope we can make this more of a priority this year. We've got an important partnership with Dementia Friendly Alton. We have a best-selling leaflet, I don't know how many times it's been reprinted, which we give away at stalls. And we held a very successful question time, Wildlife Gardens question time last October, which we will repeat at the Town Council's All Things Outdoor event in May. But you can see there's all sorts of ideas we would like to develop if we could have more volunteers and more support. And then last but not least, protecting our river, which is a very precious chalk stream, one of the most scarcest habitats on the planet. And we've been very fortunate to work with Glenn Skelton from Surrey Wildlife Trust, who lives in Alton, who's in the picture there, training some of our volunteers, who's taught us how to sample for invertebrates, which is a way of monitoring the river water quality. And we've kept this program going intermittently through successive lockdowns and then restarted it this winter, and it's continuing underway. I've got another session coming up in a couple of weeks. We've got quite a big grant through Glenn from the Rivers and Wetlands Fund at the Environment Agency and from our own town councillors to improve the riverway in the town centre, and that will be implemented during the course of this year. And we sponsored an animation for National Rivers Week last year called Healthy Rivers, which is lovely and is particularly suitable for children. I'm very happy to share that with anyone. So that's an overview of what Avlan is up to and our plans for the coming year. Thanks, Eleanor.
Thank you very much, Jenny. And now moving on to Sandy Marks, who's going to talk to us about the Alton Community Cupboard.
Is that I hardly said
Carry on, sorry.
Hello, I'm Sandy. That's okay. I run the Alton Community Cupboard along with upwards of 40 fabulous volunteers who are trying to prevent food waste from making climate change worse than it already is. They run around every day, 7 days a week, collecting surplus edible food from grocery stores, checking that it's all safe for people to eat, and displaying it in our little shop on Westbrook Walk, where we make it available to the community for free. So anything that's in date, unopened, safe to eat, usually we get fruits and vegetables, lots of bread, Those of you who were with us over Christmas Eve, lots of Brussels sprouts and potatoes. We actually rescued over 4,000 kilos of food in the week of Christmas because the shops were closed twice for 2 days, and we were just ready with our car boots open to collect all the food and bring it in, and we had a wonderful Christmas. We've rescued over 60,000 kilos of foods that since we started late in 2019. And if anybody wants to see about volunteering or helping in any way, we are just about to launch our new website, which will be altoncommunitycupboard.org. And you'll find all the information there on how to help, what you can bring in, what you can't bring in. We're open 11:30 to 1 Monday through Saturday on Westbrook Walk, which is easily found if you search for WH Smith, who are our neighbors, with a bit higher profile. And we used to do a community fridge until COVID kind of put a stop to that. So we're going to start doing community fridges again, hopefully soon. You might find a community fridge at the Alton Community Center, which is again, rescued food, no charge for anybody to just come and help themselves. And also, if you are going away, if you're lucky enough to have a holiday and you realize you've got half a bunch of bananas or whatever you're to want by the time you get back, you can bring that into us, and we take food from allotments and orchards and things as well to share with the community. And that's about it from us.
That's lovely. Thank you very much, Sandy. And now moving on to Helen to talk about the community share.
Am I going to be allowed to share my screen with you all?
I hope so. Give it a
Okay.
try.
Let's see if it works. Is that working for anybody?
That's great. Thank you.
Most. Yes.
So we are a free community lending library. We help families to reduce waste and save money by reusing and recycling activities from our library of toys, games, jigsaws, books, craft activities, knitting patterns, all sorts of things. And we're open from 10 till 12 on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month at St Lawrence Parish Centre. We were originally established as part of a range of initiatives supported by the council and led by ACAN to support the community during the COVID lockdowns, with everyone spending more time at home, and to provide activities to keep people busy and occupied. And we have managed to continue by encouraging people to reuse pre-loved toys, jigsaws, crafts and games, all donated by local people. So mainly it's about reducing landfill waste, and it's also providing a service, helping families to discover new toys and new activities, and giving people things to do, perhaps improving their mental health and well-being, and supporting our community that way as well. So our borrowers tend to be young families. And on this slide is Jilly with her mum and her baby sister, and she's just discovered a marble run and she's super excited about taking that home and trying that out. Jigsaws are really, really, really popular, and we have lots of regulars who come every couple of weeks and swap their jigsaws. And this is Betty in the pink, and she changes her jigsaws every couple of weeks and is an absolute authority on what's a good jigsaw. So our main objectives are to reduce landfill waste and to make it easier for families to make sustainable living choices, to provide a service to our local community who've supported us to get up and running and get established, and to support people who, while we've all been spending more time at home. And also, we're a venue where people can meet and we can chat and spread the message that our environmental concerns and our social needs as a community often complement each other, and we can work together on that. So like everybody here, we exist with volunteers. I think Martin's on the call as well. He's our project leader and he keeps us all organised. The other thing is we are really keen to expand our reach, and to, if you know of other families and other individuals who could benefit from our services, please help spread the word. You can reach us on Facebook and also via our email address, altoncommunityshare@hotmail.com. And we always welcome new volunteers and new borrowers. And yep, just help us to spread the word and come along and see what you might find. You might find a new toy or an activity or a knitting pattern or something that just inspires you and gives you something else to do. Thank you all very much.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Helen. And next is Sarah Galliford to talk to us about plastic-free Alton.
Yep, hi, let me just share my screen. Okay, so Plastic Free Alton, it's a new group that we started last year. Plastic Free Communities is, let me see if I can get my screen to move, hang on. There we go. So Plastic Free Communities is a national scheme set up by Surfers Against Sewage, which is an environmental charity. They started in 1990. They're one of the more active environmental charities. And the project's about tackling the avoidable throwaway plastics, so single-use plastics. Being a plastic-free community doesn't mean removing all plastic from the community. It's more about getting rid of those single-use unnecessary bits of plastic, changing the way we think about it, and hopefully the long-term goal is to change the systems that produce it to reduce that waste. The scheme's about pulling together all different aspects of the community. I'll show you the objectives on the next slides. Basically educating the community and bringing about cultural change. There's 802 plastic-free communities around the country at the moment. 129 have reached accreditation. We're one of the 673 that are currently in progress. So why did we choose to target single-use plastics? Well, as I guess most of you probably already know, plastics made from fossil fuels. Greenhouse gases are emitted at every stage of the plastic life cycle. Single-use plastics themselves account for around 40% of the plastic that's produced every year. And recycling just doesn't go far enough. A lot of plastic isn't recyclable, and even the ones which are recyclable don't end up in the recycling system. Also, single-use plastics is a good, easy, simple place to start. So our goal is to educate the community, and single-use plastics is something that everybody can understand. It's somewhere small to start. Like once people start becoming aware of the single-use plastics, then we hope to expand outwards from there so we can move on to other things, but it's just somewhere simple to start. We can get the whole community involved, so businesses and groups and just everybody in general. And being a nationally backed campaign, it's one of the really nice things about doing it through Surfers Against Sewage is that it's national. We've got neighbouring communities, so we're in touch with the people in Farnham, for example. We can share tips and useful bits of information. Surfers Against Sewage provide a whole load of educational materials, step-by-step action plans, pamphlets to give out to businesses and individuals to encourage them and guide them on how they can make a difference. So there's 5 objectives to become a plastic-free community, as in like accredited community. First one is to get the local council on board, and I'm pleased to say this is one step that we have already achieved. We've got the full support of the Alton Town Council, and Councillor Ginny Boxall has volunteered as the representative on our steering group. The other objectives, one is to get local businesses on board. So for the size of Alton, we need to get 6 businesses as a minimum signed up and achieving plastic-free champion status. We need to get 20 or more plastic-free allies on board. So those are any other kind of community group. So that could be educational places like schools and kindergartens, college, community spaces, perhaps the community centre, places like that, community communications like the newspaper, radio, and any kind of group like that that's not a business and has an outreach or membership that we can join with them to help spread the word. The fourth objective is to hold regular community events, plastic-free rallies. So maybe like a litter pick cleanup event or a mass unwrap. I know several people are quite excited about doing the mass unwrap at a supermarket at some point. So we'll be organising that sort of thing. So to pass that objective, we need to be organising 2 of those per year. And then to have a steering group set up with a group of local stakeholders that includes our councillor representative and other members of the community who are keen to help formally carry the project forward from year to year. So as I said, we've achieved objective 1 with getting the council on board, and we are working on, at the moment, getting businesses and local groups on board. We'd love to have more help if anybody would like to get involved. So as I mentioned, we need to get at least 6 businesses on board and help them eliminate at least 3 single-use plastics from their business. So that's what they need to do to achieve plastic-free champion status. They can actually be retrofitted as well. So if you know of a business who has already got rid of a lot of single-use plastics from their business, they could sign up and be retrofitted as a plastic-free champion. Also with community groups, we're looking for people who have contact with local groups or are part of local community groups. Come and get involved, or even just let us know. Give us contact details, or come and be our liaison with those groups. Again, with the groups, the target is to eliminate single-use plastics from their day-to-day activities, and also support them in educating their members and the wider community through groups or their contacts and that sort of thing. And then if anybody wants to help us organise events or to be on the steering group committee, we'd love to hear from you. Our email address is plasticfreealton@gmail.com. So do get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. That's great. And now we're on to Chris Chappell to talk about Cycle Alton.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris from Cycle Alton. We set up about 2 years ago as a campaigning group because we believe that everyone has the right, if they wish, to cycle safely about our daily business, whether it's school, shops, work, leisure, etc., in and around Alton. So we are working closely with the 3 tiers of councils that have all been incredibly helpful. And in our first year, we started with some easy projects like getting a map of the cycle routes in Alton that exist at the moment. They're not brilliant, but they are there. So there is a hard copy map available in libraries, etc., and also an online version under My Journey Hampshire. Then we worked with the town council, who quickly got some grants and put around some cycle stands. You'll see them as herb planters. They're lovely green boxes with bicycles painted on them. We've run 2 adult training courses so far, incredibly popular because so many people still feel a bit wobbly or worried about the traffic, but they've been very good. We've set up a website under ACAN with lots of information. So there are 5 cycling groups in Alton that take people out for different lengths of rides, starting with those that have just had their training and want to do 5 miles very gently, up to those that want to do 50 or 60 and go very fast out around the countryside and anything in between. Or we've got 2 people that repair bicycles in Alton, and we list them, as well as the shops and repairers in the towns roundabout. And also where you can buy refurbished bikes that have been done up and sold cheaply. So you can find that on the website. And of course our charter, we've come up with a charter that we'd love people to sign, the more the better, to support the work we're doing and to find out about the cycling festival that will be planned later this year. So those are the more straightforward and easier projects we took on. We also realised we needed to look at the town centre so that it's an attractive place and a safe place for cyclists as well as walkers. And we're working with the councils on that. And we're looking at creating a cycle network of safe routes that's cohesive, joined up from all the housing estates around Alton into the 3 senior schools or 2 colleges. So we've been fairly busy in our nearly 2 years. We'd love to see more people. If you're interested, find out more on the website or offer to help or find out what we're doing. You can sign up for our newsletter and our meetings. Our next meeting is Wednesday, the 9th of February, and we look forward to any questions at the end. Thank you.
Lovely, Chris. Thank you very much indeed. And now it's my turn, I believe, talking about lobbying. So I will put my slide. Hang on. Let me share screen and get this going. Right, lobbying then. Arguably, lobbying is the most important thing we do in ACAN, but of course I would say that. It's not obviously the only important thing we do. Our representatives in local and national government need to know that there is a huge groundswell of support for change in the way we treat our environment and for the creation of new jobs in the green economy. And that's one of the reasons we're here. And didn't local government get exciting recently? With just 3 weeks ago, I think, EHDC announced it was divorcing from Havant Council. After working together for several years, they finally decided to split up, which means that hopefully we will get more people on the staff of EHDC working specifically in the green team, as it's going to be known, and delivering whatever policies are required to address climate change. Now, what we've been doing for some time as well is working on Hampshire County Council to encourage them to divest their local government pension fund from fossil fuels. And Sonia Davey has led a very diligent team in doing that and making some progress. We also have Sheila John working on the campaigning side of things with her monthly article on making a difference, which goes out onto the ACAN website and is also available in the ACAN and Energy Alton corner of the library in paper form. She's just recently done one on New Year's resolutions and another one just gone up again today, I think, on the film Don't Look Up and how important it is to have a look at that one if you haven't already seen it. Now, another thing, I don't know whether you remember, this happened in October last year. COP26 East Hampshire was a conference which was the culmination of 2 or 3 months work by 3 action groups, one of which was on the built environment, and John Hubbard and Tony Cohen, who is here now, were heavily involved in that it led to the drafting of a climate change and sustainable construction supplementary planning document. And yes, I am reading that out, which was up for consultation until Tuesday of this week. This is a document which is embodying their main demand as a result of that Built Environment Action Group, which is that we should be insisting on much higher energy efficiency standards in new builds, rather than having to go back to houses that were built to a minimum level and then having to retrofit them when they've only been built a few years. And this document, as I say, has just come out of the consultation phase, and we will look forward to finding out what happens there in due course. Something else that's new is the launch last week, or the publication last week, of Climate Emergency UK's Council Climate Plan scorecards. They scored all the local councils in the country on the criteria you can see listed there, and then worked out what our percentages were of how much we could do out of 100. And EHDC, East Hampshire District Council, scored 24% out of 100. Hampshire County Council did slightly better at 44%. Not that this is necessarily a problem, in as much as all of this is based currently on websites and published documents, and it sums up promises rather than what is actually being achieved. And it's not a competition. Yes, it's a score chart, and no, we're fairly near the bottom. But what we're hoping is that as a result of these score charts coming up, all the local councils will be able to learn from each other until we're all way up much higher in the scoring. And ACAN will be looking to work with both EHDC and HCC in making that happen. And finally, the campaigning side, what we're hoping to do again this year, and starting with the first meeting tomorrow, I think, is a new campaign to improve air quality by reducing car idling. This is something that's very dear to my heart. I live quite close to Woodie's school, and despair when I go past that little car park where the parents are all keeping, well, not all of them, some of them keep their car engines running while they're waiting to pick up their children, not realizing that their children are going to be more affected than they are by the emissions that they are creating. So that, in a nutshell, is what we do in the lobbying group. Love to have your input if you're interested in getting involved in any of these things. And what I would say is that writing emails is probably the most impactful thing you can do if you only got 2 minutes to so join us if you would like to. Get in touch by email and we will take it from there. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to ask you to mute if you're...
Can you mute yourself, please?
Sorry, it's done. Can I now pass on to Leslie Willis of Alton Local Food Initiative? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eleanor. I'm just going to share my screen. It's coming. Right. Hello. Yes, I've been a founder member of ALFI, Alton Local Food Initiative, which was founded 12 years ago. And we have plots and planters all around the town where we grow vegetables, herbs and fruit. And I'm very quickly going to run through some of these, and then I'll talk about what we've done most recently and what we hope to do in the next few months. So one of our first plots was up Lenton Street, a grassy verge, which was soon looking like this. And we have monthly working parties there, which are a lot of fun through the spring and summer. We always enjoy ourselves. And the produce goes into a basket at the base of our notice board on the plot, and people help themselves. And none of it hangs about, it goes quite quickly. We're actually changing the use of Westbrook plot now because this sycamore in the back puts its roots into our plot and takes our water and nutrients. So we're turning it more into a wildlife garden with wildflowers and perennial insect-loving plants. Down at the station, many of you will have seen the plot there. It started off more or less as a rubbish tip, but within a few months, it turned into this extremely productive vegetable plot, and the produce goes into the station foyer for people to take as they get off the train in the evening. We have what we call, or we had what we call the hop garden opposite the railway arms. But when Hampshire County Council redesigned that area, they asked us to look after these 4 big planters, which have herbs in. And then we planted an orchard up at Jubilee Field, starting with 5 apple, pear, plum, cherry. But we added another 10, so we've got 15 altogether. And we do get quite good crops there, and people can help themselves to the fruit as it ripens. The garden in front of St. Lawrence Vicarage, which wasn't being gardened, we started to clear it, and it was quite a challenge. But again, it didn't take very long before it was looking like this, with soft fruit growing, strawberries and some fruit trees, and the produce is again put out on the wall in front of the vicarage, and that doesn't hang around very long either. We have regular events each year, and we have one, in fact, Saturday week, the 12th of February, Seedy Saturday, It's in the Methodist Church Hall, 10 till 12. And you can bring along any spare seeds you have from last year, or you can come and take some of ours for a small donation. We serve coffee and it's a very sociable occasion. We have a seedling swap in May, and this year this will be in the public gardens where the town council are running their Everything Outdoors event. A very popular event. People bring along seedlings and can do a swap. Everyone always grows too many of whatever it is they grow. Or you can come and take some for a small donation again. In the autumn, we have our harvest feast where we make cakes and soup using vegetables and fruit. And it's very sociable and we all enjoy chewing over the successes and failures of the season. We work with the local primary schools as much as we can. We encourage their garden clubs and we run a competition each year. This was one where we asked them to make posters illustrating Alfie. And last summer, we had the privilege really of having a small plot in the community garden section of Hampton Court Garden Festival. It was a terrific occasion. Everybody was very interested. They were particularly interested that we just put our produce out for people to help themselves. This just seemed to be such a new idea to people. And lots of them went away saying they wanted to try and get something going along the same lines. And in fact, we got an invitation as a result of that to have a small garden at the Gardeners' World Fair, which is this coming May, April, May, down at Bewley. So that is already being planned and should be a great event. Our most recent efforts have been to start a new plot in front of the BT building, which is next to Station Road. It's going to be mainly large planters with fruit trees, fruit bushes, some salad crops, and there is a little bit of wildflower bed at this end where you can't see it. So this is the very first working party, and it's going to be really interesting this year to see how that comes on. And then also in November, we started another orchard down at Barley Fields. Steve Hunt there helping to plant 13 apple and pear trees. And the lovely thing here is that the residents of Barley Field are involved and are going to help look after the trees, and the fruit that's produced will be there for them to benefit from. So we're really pleased about that. We also encourage local food outlets in the area, and our theme for this year is local and sustainable food. And we've just updated this local food directory, which has over 40 retailers, vegetable box schemes, shops, market stalls, and farm shops. The more we can use these outlets, I think the more local produce will be sold. And we would very much like to have more locally produced vegetables in the area, but that at the moment seems to be a problem, but is something that we should all support when we can. So that's Alfie. It's a lovely group. We're very friendly. We'd love any new volunteers or just new supporters. And if you can come along to Seedy Saturday on the 12th and introduce yourselves to us, I promise you, you'll be warmly welcomed. I'm the last of the speakers of the groups, and so I did ask Eleanor if I could also give the vote of thanks. So I'm going to do that now, but it will be followed by question time. So don't go away, because I'm sure there'll be some interesting questions as well. So I do first of all want to thank all the speakers this evening from the different groups. I think it's been brilliant. It's so heartwarming to hear about all the different things that are going on. So thank you, all of you. And of course, each of your groups, we thank the supporters within those groups, because it's like ripples spreading out, isn't it, from the centre. And I think, again, it's inspiring, and it's a model, I hope, of how we can continue to spread our influence. Then I want to thank all of those who've been listening this evening. And I suppose one message is thank you very much for tuning in. But if you have any suggestions of ways to get more people coming to find out about us, we would really love to know, because there's been a lot of effort in publicity for this event, and it is difficult in Alton to reach out. And we're doing a lot, but any other ideas would be gratefully received. I hope we've shown that there are lots of different ways that we can get involved to improve biodiversity and to take action against the climate emergency. And then finally, I want to say thank you to Jenny and Eleanor, because of all the work they do for ACAN. I don't think there's a single person who actually knows all the things that they do, because it's so diverse, and they put a great deal of time, energy and effort. And I should include Finna in this thank you as well, although she's not been so involved tonight, but they do a terrific job. But particularly for this evening, we must thank Eleanor, who has put it all together. She's run the Zoom, and she's the one who masterminded the leaflets which were produced for the evening. A whole group of people delivered leaflets to a lot of the new houses on the new estates and to others as well. She does the newsletter for ACAN, and that's been advertising it. And I hope you can see that although it's lovely to have this audience, it really would be wonderful to have more. And if you know of anyone who would have liked to have been involved tonight, or perhaps didn't hear about it, but you think they'd be interested in any of these groups, please pass the word on and ask them to contact us through the ACAN website address. I know we'd all be very grateful. And I think the final thing to say is it's fun, it's really enjoyable, it's really heartwarming. I often think if I'm going to something, oh goodness, this is a bit of an effort, and I never come away not feeling, oh, I'm so glad I got involved in that. It was really rewarding. So thank you everybody very much. Eleanor.
Thank you very much, Leslie. That's very kind of you, all those kind words. And I can't believe, just listening to everybody's reports this evening, how much we do. It's just incredible. And I want to give a very big thank you to all the volunteers that have got involved in so many different areas. It really is amazing. Thank you very much indeed. While we've been doing that, I've put into the chat three things: our own email address, the ACAN email address, the ACAN website address, and the address for our volunteer interest form, which is on the web as well if you're interested. So if you want to ask any questions or get involved in any way, you can use any of those. Now, Jenny, can I ask you to stop the recording and we'll start on questions? So if